Please be seated. A very pleasant morning to one and all, and welcome to the grounds of the Denby 4-H Training and Production Center in Clarendon. And I also extend welcome to those of us joining online on the platforms of the Jamaica 4-H clubs and the UNDP platforms. My name is Carol McCormack. I'm the Public Relations and Marketing Manager of the Jamaica 4-H clubs, and it is my pleasure to be the chair for this morning's proceedings. Today is a very important and special day. It is the launch of a very important and special project that will impact young persons across Jamaica as it relates to farming and fishing. But of course, I am not here to tell that story. I am here to guide the proceedings, and that story will slowly unravel itself throughout this morning's proceedings. But as is customary, we like to invite the presence of the Father. And at this point in time, I'm going to call on Reverend Roy Wickham, who is the chairman of the Island Advisory Council of the Jamaica 4-H clubs, to lead us in prayer. Reverend Wickham.
Good morning, everyone. Let us pray. Almighty God, our Father, creator of heaven and earth, you in your word have summoned us all to meet as one people from all races, those who are foreigners and aliens, enemies and friends, to come together. We thank you, God, that the vision of ending poverty is real in the lives and mind of many of our people. We thank you, God, for the Jamaica 4-H clubs, who today has been tasked with a responsibility to carry out a duty that assists young women and other farmers, both in rural area and urban areas, in becoming better persons through fishery and farming. We thank you for those who have funded these programs. And we ask, Lord, that you continue to grant wisdom to those who will implement the program and ensure that those who are participants will fully be engaged and benefit from such a program. We ask, Lord, that you continue to lead us, continue to stimulate our minds, continue to give us fresh ideas, and continue to bless those organizations and countries that continue to provide funding for programs such as these. May you bless all your people. May you bless those who will participate. Grant unto them safety and protection always, so that as they seek to become better persons and their families become better people, our country and our world can be renowned to be a better place. Guide us now in this function today. Bless the proceedings. And may when we all finish, we declare it was good for us to be here. Hear now our prayers as we ask you to forgive us of our sins and grant us your mercies and your peace for Christ's sake. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Wickham, for those inspirational words as we set the tone for this morning's activity. Before we get into the opening remarks, I would like to extend special welcome to special guests who we have amongst us this morning. And I would like to start with the High Commissioner of Canada to Jamaica, Her Excellency Emina Tudokovic. I hope I got it correct. It's very close. All right. Thank you for being here. Mr. Oliver Blake, who is the head of the Jamaica Political and Development Team and Senior Governance Advisor for the Caribbean at the British High Commission. Welcome, sir. And I see His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Winston Mirage, joining us. Welcome, sir, and thank you for joining us. I also extend special welcome to Miss Ava White Anderson, who is the Assistant Resident Representative of the UNDP. Thank you. And of course, she is also here with her team, Miss Rosine Wildman, Miss Gillian Scott, and of course, Miss Michelle Scott, who you will hear from a little later. Also, special welcome to members of the Jamaica 4-H Club's team, headed by Dr. Ronald Blake, Executive Director, and other officers of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, members of the media, Ms. Sharika Campbell, Country Manager of InMed Caribbean, Mr. Winston Simpson, Acting CEO of the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. And of course, we are also expecting the arrival of the Chairman of the Board of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Mr. Colin Virgo, as well as our main speaker, Honorable Franklin Witter, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Thank you all for being here. At this time, we are going to hear opening remarks courtesy of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, and this will be delivered by Ms. Tanika Allen, who is the administrator of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation. Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Chairperson, Mayor of Maypen, His Worship, Councillor Winston Mirage, Minister of State from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Franklin Witter, High Commissioner of Canada to the Jamaica, Her Excellency Emina Tudokovic, Resident Rep UNDP Jamaica, Mrs. Denise Antonio, Head of Jamaica Political and Development Team and Senior Governance Advisor for the Caribbean from British High Commissioner, Mr. Oliver Blake, Project Support Consultant to the UNDP, Ms. Michelle Scott, Director of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, Dr. Donald Blake, Chairman for the Board of Directors for the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Mr. Colin Virgo, Acting Chief Executive Officer of Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, Mr. Winston Simpson, Country Manager for InMed Caribbean, Ms. Sharika Campbell, Jamaica 4-H Clubs Regional Managers, Parish Managers, volunteers, beneficiaries, other specially invited guests, members of the media, and our online viewers, good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of Mr. Donald Gordon, Director of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, who is unavoidably absent today. Today, the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, with support from the Global Affairs Canada and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, United Kingdom, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, launches the Enabling Gender-Responsive Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience in the Caribbean (ENGENDER) project entitled Strengthening the Adaptive Capacity of Youth Farmers and Fisherfolk in Jamaica. It is with great pleasure that we once again partner with the UNDP to implement such an important project that will undoubtedly impact and empower many of our Jamaican youth. Overall, the Jamaica 4-H Foundation continues to ensure that our youth farmers and fishers are provided with optimum training opportunities and certification for their respective careers in agriculture. As an organization, we continue to strive towards getting more youth entrants into the sector by exposing them to research, innovation, and by providing increased opportunities, particularly for our youth female cohorts. We look forward to the continued support and growth and strengthening of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation's partnership with the UNDP as we strive to become transforming force in communities, through training, educating, and empowering the Jamaican youth. Again, on behalf of Mr. Gordon, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Miss Allen, for those words interpreted courtesy of Mr. Donald Gordon. And let me just use this opportunity at this time to say special welcome to Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Franklin Whittle. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us, and we look forward to your delivery a little later down in the program. Now, at this time, we're expecting to hear from the chairman of the board of the Jamaica 4-H clubs. He's not here as yet, so we will proceed with the program and we will facilitate him when he arrives. So at this point in time, I am going to invite Ms. Michelle Scott, project support consultant of the UNDP multi-country office in Jamaica, who will provide for you an overview of the Engender project in Jamaica.
A very good morning to everyone. It is my pleasure this morning to provide you with an overview of the Engender project in Jamaica. The physical impacts of climate change and natural hazards often compound pervasive structural inequalities and socioeconomic vulnerabilities. So let's go. I will start again. Thank you. The physical impacts of climate change and natural hazards often compound pervasive structural inequalities and socioeconomic vulnerabilities. This occurs because gender equality and human rights are frequently not given the consideration required in climate change mitigation and adaptation, and in disaster risk recovery and response. Women and men typically respond and react differently in various stages of disasters and recovery. The groups with the least knowledge and capacity to take short-term measures to limit impacts from climate-related disasters are often the most affected. For this reason, the Enabling Gender-Responsive Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience in the Caribbean, Engender project, seeks to further integrate gender equality and human rights-based approaches into disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, and environmental management frameworks and interventions, as well as to identify and address some of the gaps to ensure equal access to disaster risk reduction and climate change and environmental solutions for both men, women, boys, and girls. The project has 4 main objectives. Firstly, to advance the gender-responsive implementation of national adaptation plans and nationally approved All right, so we did have a power cut. It's been returned, and we'll just give us a few minutes, and we'll resume the program. Thank you. Welcome. We had a power cut, but now we're resuming our programming. Thank you. So I will continue. The project has 4 main objectives. Firstly, to advance the gender-responsive implementation of national adaptation plans and nationally appropriate mitigation actions at the sector level, according to national priorities, focusing on sectors that have the greatest beneficial impact for women and girls. Secondly, to support representation of the needs and perspectives of the most vulnerable populations in cross-sectoral, inclusive governance, and national climate change planning. Thirdly, building government capacity for gender-responsive, intersectoral access to climate finance through innovative solutions. And finally, to build on the work of other partners working at the national level to assist countries to develop and/or strengthen gender-responsive and inclusive national recovery mechanisms and plans. The Engender project commenced in 2019 and will end in March 2023. It is being implemented in 9 Caribbean countries, including Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Suriname. Engender is being funded by Global Affairs Canada and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, United Kingdom. The budget allocation for Jamaica is $792,000 US. Engender is being implemented directly by UNDP Jamaica in collaboration with the Climate Change Division within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Strategic oversight is being provided by a technical working group comprised of the Climate Change Division, Planning Institute of Jamaica, the Bureau of Gender Affairs, the Ministry of Transport and Mining, and the Network of Rural Women Producers. I will now share with you our main achievements so far. In 2021, the Government of Jamaica's technical capacity, particularly staff from the Planning Institute of Jamaica, the Bureau of Gender Affairs, and the Climate Change Division, was strengthened in integrating gender into climate change policy frameworks and nationally determined contributions and their associated implementation plans through participation in gender and NDC training clinics. The training clinics complemented the government's ongoing national and institutional efforts to mainstream gender into climate-related policy and regulated frameworks. Notably, since the training, the BGA has integrated gender and climate change targets into Jamaica's revised national policy for gender equality, and they have also developed a gender and climate change module and led trainings to strengthen the capacity of the government's gender focal point network. Okay, I will continue. Between 2020 and 2021, Engender successfully supported local COVID-19 response initiatives that targeted the socioeconomic needs of the most vulnerable to enhance gender-responsive recovery. A total of $100,000 US was spent on COVID-19 response initiatives. Through partnership with the Bureau of Gender Affairs, 1,400 nutrition and hygiene care packages were distributed. 200 households received income support grants, and 5 small businesses received income generation grants. The COVID-19 response also involved the delivery of psychosocial support towards gender-based violence prevention and response through E for Life, a local NGO. 30 survivors of gender-based violence received psychosocial support and tools, and 42 first responders, including 28 mentors and 14 community leaders, received training in case management. Our annual work plan. Right, so we're back. Right. So between January 22 to March 2023, the program will be implementing activities in 2 broad areas. Firstly, policy, legislative, and institutional framework development. Under this area, we'll be executing 4 activities. Firstly, we'll be supporting the government through the Ministry of Transport and Mining to review and revise the national transport policy towards the development of a gender-responsive and climate-proofed national transport strategy and national transport plan. The policy review process will ensure that the changing needs of Jamaica's transport system are addressed and will ensure that thereby supporting, the advancement of the transportation sector. Secondly, we'll be supporting the Climate Change Division to conduct a comprehensive gender analysis of the revised draft climate change policy framework and the draft national housing policy and prepare policy briefs for both documents. These analyses and policy briefs will contribute to gender and climate-proofed policy documents in key sectors and advance the country's efforts in ensuring gender equality while responding to climate change and climate-related disasters. Support is also being provided through the CCD to undertake a gender-responsive climate change vulnerability and adaptation assessment of the Port Royal community in Kingston. We are also providing support through the Bureau of Gender Affairs to develop and implement a behavior change communication strategy and action plan to support the integration of gender equality and a human rights-based approach in climate change and disaster risk reduction machineries in Jamaica. Our second broad area is the implementation of gender-responsive national adaptation plans and nationally appropriate mitigation actions. And this is why we're here today. The Engender Project is supporting the efforts of Jamaica 4-H Foundation to strengthen the adaptive capacity of 600 youth farmers and fisherfolk in selected communities in Jamaica. Under this program, there will be a climate-smart agriculture and fisheries awareness campaign, as well as capacity strengthening of 175 farmers and fisherfolk in climate-smart agriculture and fisheries and enterprise development. I now wish to present a short video that will explain our pilot project.
Jamaican farmer Govinda Fisher had to push hard for land, funds, and respect so that she could live her dream of farming as a livelihood. Pressures came from all sides in this male-dominated field. Peers and family would say, "You're so beautiful, go back home, get married, and start a family." Govinda is a minority in a male-dominated field where youth account for only 20% of all farmers. 69% of all youth farmers are male and 31% are female. In the fisheries sector, the imbalance is far greater. There are only 5.9% female fishers according to the National Fisheries Authority. Together, farmers and fishers are crucial for sustaining fresh food supplies. But lingering inequalities can curtail the full potential of the sectors, and climate change and natural disasters can endanger food security. Building resilience to climate shocks and getting more women and young people involved on a level playing field could be game-changing. With support from Global Affairs Canada and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office FCDO United Kingdom, a new pilot project will help male and female farmers and fishers in select communities across Jamaica equally access project opportunities, adapt to climate change, build resilience to its impacts, and recover quickly when disaster strikes. Youth unemployment is falling, but currently stands at 15%. The pilot project contributes to national efforts to further lower youth unemployment and to engage more young people in fishing and farming. Young men and women from select communities across Jamaica will benefit from training and inputs to help them thrive in fishing and farming and related value-added enterprises. Over a 6-month period, young fishers and farmers will receive professional advice on climate-smart agriculture and value-added income-generating opportunities in their sectors, become trained and certified in crop and livestock production, fisheries, and agro-processing, and receive venture inputs, technical support, and coaching to start their own businesses. Successes and lessons will be studied carefully with a view to expanding to other communities. At the end of the pilot phase, young farmers and fishers on the front lines of climate change will be equipped to adapt, thrive, and earn. Young people must face the future by becoming resilient to the challenges posed by climate change and natural disasters. This means that both young men and women must have equal access to opportunities on a level playing field. By strengthening equality in the fisheries and farming sectors, young people will be empowered to grow, empowered to feed their families, and fully prepared to make their contribution to economic growth.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for that concise overview of the project. So I'm sure now we are a little bit clearer as to what the mission of the project is, why we're here, and how it will evolve over the 6-month period. And just to talk about those young people who will be a part of this project, we do have a couple of them here with us, and I just want to use this opportunity to acknowledge them and ask them to stand when I call their names. We have from St. Thomas, Daniela Williams. Daniela, where are you? Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We also have from Westmoreland, Antoinette Horton. And from St. Elizabeth, Keneal Morgan. Keneal, where are you? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, give them a hearty round of applause. This is just a little sample of all those young persons who are going to benefit from this important project. So, ladies and gentlemen, I did mention earlier that we are expecting the chairman of the board of directors of the Jamaica 4-H clubs, and he is here, and I'm sure ready and waiting to bring you his greetings. So at this point in time, I'm going to ask Mr. Colin Virgo to come forward and bring greetings on behalf of the Jamaica 4-H clubs.
Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies, Ms. McCormack, Minister of State, Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. As a matter of fact, acting minister today. Minister Charles is off the island. So Busha for one day, still Busha. Your Worship, the Mayor of Maypen, Councillor Winston Marage, a very active and strong supporter consistently, like Minister Witter, of the Jamaica 4-H clubs for many years, regardless of what capacities they serve. Dr. Ronald Blake, my hard-working executive director. The next person I'll mention, she is more than a friend of the Jamaica 4-H club. She's family. Mrs. Denise Antonio is someone who consistently reaches out, engages, checks on the Jamaica 4-H clubs in much the same way that you would check on your favorite niece or nephew. And it is something that we do not take for granted. I really want to say to the entire UNDP team, we give sincere thanks for your continued support and partnerships with the Jamaica 4-H clubs over the years. The High Commissioner of Canada, our partners from the British High Commission and UK AID, Miss Scott, you know, so we're here today talking about a project that is building women, building agriculture, and building climate resilience. Now, all these things sound good to say. And all these things are buzzwords now, and they're nice cliches and nice taglines. But to what extent do we appreciate and fully understand the tangible impact of this? I'll give you an example. As a matter of fact, I see some of our friends from InMed here. I realized they started following me on social media the other day. All the time on my social media, I'm sure they're having the time of their life now. Mm-hmm. All the time on social media, I post the videos from all over the world. And here in Jamaica, of natural disasters happening in unprecedented ways, in unprecedented places. Flash flooding, drought, all sorts of wildfires, all sorts of incidents that impact human life. You know, a lot of us take for granted how dangerous it is. Not just to your personal life, but even to the value of property that you own. Because of this nice buzzword, this nice cliche that you call climate change. So, a few years ago, when Mayor Maraj had to contend with some unprecedented flooding here in Clarendon, places in Clarendon that never used to normally flooded. And even places that would flood from time to time, flooded in ways that it never normally flooded. Do you know the impact that that has on a pensioner who has invested in a home? They are at an age and stage in life, Reverend Wickham, where they can't move again. Tapa, they are at that place in life where what they have saved is to carry them towards that final point. It's not to purchase a new home and to relocate. Just a little over a year ago, Minister Witter in his constituency, same thing. Some places that not even during the largest hurricanes to hit Jamaica never flooded. Flooded. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is anybody who is still unclear in their mind as to why climate change and climate resilience is so important, or what it means, or what are they talking about, that's what they're talking about. Climate change is something that is not a next man's problem. It's not for the other person to worry about. Climate change and climate resilience affects each and every one of us. If you are even an extremely selfish person, then think about the risk it runs, not just to your life, but to the value of property that you may own, live, or reside on. So when our international partners would have come together to support a program such as this, and in particular, to give such important attention to women, you are doing the entire world a favor. Not just Jamaica. Not just the Jamaica 4-H clubs. You are doing the entire world a favor. We must not take these things for granted. All of us, in closing, I'll simply remind us that all of us have to live somewhere. And you have to eat to live. Well, although my better half would probably tell you that she believes that I live to eat. But the two single greatest threats to humanity right now are climate change and food security. Climate change and food security. Let us not wait for us to have another record-breaking year of Category 5 storms here in the Caribbean. That is being caused by climate change. Let us not wait until the world breaks out into war over food. Let us not wait until we cannot feed the population of the world. So climate change and climate resiliency, therefore, is for our own personal protection, if nothing else. And they are symbiotic because the food security is essential to the survival of each and every one of us as individuals. So any angle that you choose to look at it from, to take it from, it is crucial. Ladies and gentlemen, partners, I want to sincerely thank each and every one of you for supporting these initiatives, supporting these programs, making them a success. And I have to big up, selfishly, my 4-H team, because they don't drop the ball on anything at all whatsoever. And that's not even my own words. Our international partners have said it repeatedly, that there is no other organization that they enjoy working with as much as the Jamaica 4-H clubs, because we get everything done well, done on time, done in budget, done in scope, and done to the highest pedigree. God bless you all and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Virgo, for your remarks. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that though we are here on location, we are also streaming live on JIS Television, the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, and the Facebook pages and YouTube on Clover TV for the Jamaica 4-H clubs. Welcome to those who might have slipped in after the official welcome on location. And of course, welcome to those online who might have logged in after the official welcome. At this time, we are going to show what is the linkage between this Engender project and the Jamaica 4-H Club's national priorities. And who better to explain that linkage and to show exactly how they will combine is none other than the Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Dr. Ronald Blake, who I now invite to come to the lecture.
Thank you very much, Chairman Karel McCormack, and permit me to recognize His Worship the Mayor, first citizen of where we are, Mr. Councillor Mirage. Welcome, sir. Also, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. He is not State Minister today. And importantly, the Minister with responsibility for fisheries, an important component under this project. Minister, welcome. I also want to recognize our friends from Canada, represented by Her Excellency Emina Tudavokovic. I hope I didn't create challenge to the name. I'm sure she'll tell you, say, Emina, if that is better for you. And also to our friends represented by Oliver Blake from the British High Commission. I also want to recognize Miss Ava White Anderson, Assistant Deputy Representative of UNDP Multi-Country Office in Jamaica. I want to also recognize my chairman of the 4-H clubs, Colin Virgo, also vice chairman of the global 4-H clubs and the chairman for 4-H clubs in the Caribbean and Latin America. I see my advisory council chairman, Reverend Wickham, CEO Arada, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 4-H and Dembi 4-H Training and Development Center. You know, I was just talking with Ava Cross, and I was saying to Ava that this is probably one of the most important of all of the projects that the 4-H clubs will partner with its development partner in implementing in Jamaica. And I'm very pleased that we would have had long and sustained discussion about the components of this project. And one of the important things about the 4 clearly described components, as Ms. Scott did, is how they strategically align with the priorities, not just of the Jamaica 4-H clubs, but the Ministry of Agriculture, Jamaica on a whole. And I want to say, you know, to Oliver and Her Excellency, and I want you, colleagues, to listen carefully, that one of the things about the environment or the ecosystem on a whole is that whatever you do anywhere in the world to the ecosystem impacts the world everywhere. It's one of the most important aspects of life that interconnects all our peoples in one sphere. And so any bad treatment of the environment in Jamaica affect our people in Canada, and they affect our people in England. And so it is important that the investment of the taxpayers in Canada and England is a worthwhile one that will not only benefit Jamaicans, but will also benefit our friends and family in Canada and England. This project brings into sharp focus the ministry and the 4-H club focus on grow smart, eat smart. So there are 2 important components: the enterprise development and the youth and women in fisheries component are in fact geared to put on the ground the concept of grow smart. The Jamaica 4-H clubs takes the production of food by our youth and women seriously. And so we are not doing it by accident. And so over the last year, we have incorporated precision agriculture as a way or a strategic approach for production by our youth farmers. So essentially what we are saying is that you can use information technology to precisely determine what nutrient and other requirements your plant needs to have for optimum yield. So gone are the days when we are encouraging our young farmers to waste water, which may be in short supply. Gone are the days when we are saying that you put as much fertilizer as you think the plant may have. We are saying the technology exists, and I'm happy to say that a couple days in the agricultural show, we had 21 pieces of technology that we have brought in from elsewhere in the world. And we have made those available to all farmers in Jamaica to help them to become more productive and to grow smart. You know, when I listened to the presentation you made, Michelle, that just about 5.9% of our fisher folks are women. You know what is a more worrying piece of statistic? If you look at inland fisheries, the statistics is even more unattractive. It's about just over 1% of women are represented there. But anyone who is looking at food security carefully will tell you the greatest on-top opportunity in Jamaica and the Caribbean is in the blue economy, is in the ocean. Tremendous biodiversity, not just in animals, as we would want to think, but also in plants. And the truth is that where poverty is highly acute in Jamaica is in the rural area. And it's really among our rural women. That's what the data shows. And so this project is at the heart of fixing some of those anomalies. And 4-H is very happy to say that strategically this project is helping to fix some big problems that we have been talking about and we have been doing other things in order to fix. On the other side, this project has a very strong awareness component. The Jamaica 4-H Club with 105,000 members is the second largest 4-H clubs in the world behind the United States. And a little out front, Her Excellency from Canada, or very, very good 4-H friend. And I see my chairman there smiling because I know he likes to talk that he is the second biggest in the world. But you can't get a more effective machine to bring about behavioral change than a captive audience of 105,000 young people with a passion on a penchant for agriculture and environment. You can't get it better. In addition to the 5,000 volunteers working with the 4-H Club to put our programs and our projects on the ground. It tells me that over the period of this project, we will be waging a strategic conversation about how do we do things differently. And one of the things we are saying we are going to have to do, and my chairman said it, we're going to have to take the issue of food security seriously. But the 4-H perspective is that you can fix food security through food diversification. And what are we talking about? Not many people know that there are over 20,000 edible species of plants on the globe. Over 20,000 edible species of plants on the globe. But did you know that only 20%, not 20%, 20 of these plants produce 90% of all the food we consume as a globe? What is that telling you? We are not adventurous enough to explore the other 19,980 plants that are out there that are edible. But guess what? As you travel across the world, you will recognize that there are things that others eat that we don't eat, but we grow them here. What the 4-H is doing, and we did that the other day at the Denby show, where we introduced 11 new foods. Because the truth is, we believe that if we're going to fix food security, we're going to have to start to eat some of the things that can be eaten that we are no longer eating. And one of the good things about some of these foods, they are resilient to the changes that we are seeing in climate. For example, the scientific world is now out on purslane, and it's one of the crops that we are showcasing and we are encouraging. And they feel that the answer to developing drought-resistant plants, the answer is actually in that plant. And I'm very happy to say that this is new and emerging research with Winston, is that the Jamaica 4-H Club over the last 4 years has taken that plant out of the wild. And it has very potent nutraceutical value for many Jamaicans will know. But the reality is that under this project, a lot of the crop and livestock enterprise to be developed is going to be adventurous, because we are going to be saying to our beneficiaries that there are emerging and non-traditional markets, because there are some subpopulation in Jamaica and they are demanding some foods that is not yam and potato, Minister. You know, there's a food that we all like to eat, and all of us inside here like it, and we don't even know it's bamboo shoot we're eating. Big demand for it, you know, bamboo shoots. Really tasty. Those of you like your choy mein and so, that crunchy white substance, it's bamboo shoots. They're growing the wild here. Are we taking advantage of that? Are we taking advantage of sea grapes? Sea grapes is resilient to any kind of climate variation. Mr. Ewart. But are we? One of the largest imports of fruits in Jamaica, Minister, you know what it is? It's the grapes, you know, that we brought in. But where you and I are from in St. Elizabeth, there's just so many of those grapes that are grown there, Councillor Mirage. And they grow there. One tree, I say to people, one of those trees, when they are properly laden, can supply any supermarket for the week with enough grape. And my technical people is telling me that they are far more nutritious than the ones we like to import. And those are threatened by the variation in climate. The reality is that this project will have a substantive strategic link between our food diversification program. And the other area that is dear to my heart under this project is agro-processing. For approximately 45% of the food we produce is wasted before it gets into your mouth. Under our Eat Smart strategy, we are saying we're going to have to cut the waste, and we're going to have to find more innovative ways in doing the things we do. I said to my home ec department recently, I want you to do an experiment with green bananas. We eat a lot of green bananas in Jamaica. We like it for breakfast, Mayor. I am challenging, Minister, that the skin of the banana is about 40% of the weight of the banana. When you remove the skin from the green banana. You're chewing that, you know. But I hear when you stir fry that, you have nothing better to eat than that stir fry banana skin. It is comparable to the stir fry eggplant and chocho and all the other green, healthy, solid greens that we like to eat. These are the strategic link between this project and what is going to fix the whole issue of food security. And so we are going to be taking our rural women here, we're going to be training them in agro-processing, and we're going to equip them and give them the start under this project to start their enterprise in actually moving the third and fourth from our production that we would throw away, Winston. We're saying process those, extend the shelf life, and also improve the social and economic standing of our women in rural Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, this project means a whole lot to Jamaica 4-H clubs because it means a whole lot to Jamaica. And it also has significant positive implication for the rest of the world. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Blake, for showing us exactly how this project will be linked, or is linked, I should say, with the national priorities of the Jamaica 4-H clubs. Because everything we do at the Jamaica 4-H clubs has a link to some priority out there. And of course, that is how we create the impact that we do. So thank you again, Dr. Blake, for those remarks. And speaking of remarks, ladies and gentlemen, it is now that time when we hear from our partners. And we're going to start with the head of the Jamaica Political and Development Team and Senior Governance Advisor for the Caribbean from the British High Commission, Mr. Oliver Blake. Mr. Blake, please come forward, sir.
Madam Chair, Honourable Minister, Your Worship, the Mayor, Excellency High Commissioner of Canada, Assistant Resident Representative, UNDP, Chairman Directors of the 4-H Clubs of Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be here today at this project, helping farmers and fishers to adapt to the impact of climate change in Jamaica. We talk a lot in international fora about climate change. Indeed, when I arrived in Jamaica at about this time last year, we were working very closely with Minister Pernell Charles, who was then Minister for Climate Change, and his team, about to head off to the Glasgow COP26 conference. A lot of things are talked about in these big meetings, but it's very important that we make sure that all these fine words in these big fora actually mean something for people on the ground, on the front line of climate change, such as farmers and fishers. Some people around the world have the resources to adapt easily or to move their families and businesses elsewhere. But on small islands in farming and fishing communities, that is not so easy. We know that small island developing states didn't contribute to climate change and are amongst the first to suffer its effects. And the people who suffer those effects most and most immediately are people in the poorer communities. So I'm very pleased that we're able to work with the range of partners we have here today to provide some practical support and training to these communities, to the women, to the youth, to all the farmers and fishers who are now facing the impact of climate change. And that impact, as we have heard, is very real. I remember last year we produced a video with the Climate Change Division showing the impact of sea level rise on Helstra Beach. We've seen the impact of flooding and hurricanes. And we're working with the Ministry of Finance here on improving the resilience of Jamaica in terms of Jamaican finances, Jamaican infrastructure to the impact of climate change. But all that must translate to the impact and supporting people on the ground. So I'm very grateful to all those involved in this project and wish everybody well in taking forward this work and learning the lessons too, because what is done here will help in learning for what is also done elsewhere. Indeed, that is one of the roles that Jamaica plays with us internationally and nationally. Jamaica is involved in almost every pilot project internationally on climate change. And I think that highlights the commitment that Jamaica shows, both from the leadership down to the community level, on recognizing that this is something that we're all in together. And as has already been said, what is done in one part of the world has an impact elsewhere. So once again, let me wish everybody well for this project, and thank you for getting us all here today. And we wish you a very successful project in taking this forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blake, for your remarks. Now, you heard earlier that, as Mr. Virgo described her as a very good friend, the resident rep of the UNDP multi-country office in Jamaica, she always keeps a check on us. Though she's not here physically, she is sending her regards. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna ask you now to cast your eyes on the screen as we hear remarks from Ms. Denise Antonio, resident representative, UNDP multi-country office in Jamaica.
Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., MP, High Commissioner of Canada to Jamaica, Her Excellency Emina Tudakovic, Head of Jamaica's Political and Development Team and Senior Advisor of the Caribbean British High Commission, Mr. Oliver Blake, Honorable William Shaguri, Custos Rotulorum, Clarendon, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor William Mirage, Mayor of Maypen, Director, Jamaica 4-H Foundation, and Chairman of the Board of Directors, Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Mr. Colin Virgo, Director, Jamaica 4-H Foundation, Dr. Ronald Blake. Good morning to all of you. I am delighted to mark this important milestone in our shared journey to advance Jamaica's climate resilience through the enabling gender responsive disaster recovery, climate and environmental resilience in the Caribbean project, for short ENGENDA. Agriculture forms one of Jamaica's key productive sectors and is also one of the most vulnerable to the effects of climate change and natural disasters. Fishers and farmers play a vital role in food security, but there are current imbalances that can limit their potential contributions to growth. Only 20% of farmers are young people between the ages of 18 to 35 years of age, and only 31% of those youth farmers are female. In the fisheries sector, this is even further reduced to 5.9%. The inequalities run deeper than participation. They also touch on access. In the crucial period following a disaster, women face greater challenges in accessing resources for recovery. The numbers are clear. We need more young people and more young women to participate in this sector. We need to ensure the playing field is level for all to access capital and support for resilient livelihoods and recovery in the event of a climate-induced disaster. We need greater investment in gender-sensitive resilience programming to strengthen Jamaica's climate resilience. A gender-equal approach integrating youth, women, men, persons with disabilities, and other groups at risk of being left behind will maximize the resilience and productivity of Jamaica's fishery and agricultural sector. It is with this principle in mind that I am pleased to celebrate the launch of this pilot initiative in partnership with our donor, Global Affairs Canada, and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of the United Kingdom. This groundbreaking initiative will seek to model gender equality in access and opportunities to climate resilient resources for young farmers and fisherfolk. It will be implemented by our invaluable partner, the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, and directly aligns to the 4-H Club's Youth in Agriculture program that is within the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. This estimated $21.5 million Jamaican dollar grant will reach more than 600 young people through skills building, business development, contributing directly to sustainable and climate-smart livelihoods within the agriculture and fisheries sector. The work to be undertaken holds much promise for transforming our beneficiary communities, particularly the youth. Results will directly contribute to Jamaica's National Development Plan, Vision 2030, and the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. UNDP remains committed to our national partners in supporting this critical work to adapt and mitigate the impacts of climate change on our sectors. Now, let me turn to the youth who will be implementing and benefiting from this initiative. Please remember, climate change is on course to affect your generation in unprecedented ways. This is not, of course, to scare you, but to challenge you to rise to the occasion. Adaptation and mitigation practices, they do work. I charge you, therefore, to absorb the resources of this initiative, apply and add value to what you have learned. Innovative new methods of securing your outputs and energizing your business ideas as overcomers of climate change. Then come back and teach us what you have learned. Today and tomorrow's generation of leaders await your stories of triumph to inspire us to new heights in resilience to crisis. I know you can do it. All the best, and thank you.
And thank you to Mrs. Antonio for your message via the digital medium. Again, let me just say a pleasant morning to those online. And of course, we also have beneficiaries of this project online. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, at this time, we're going to have remarks from Her Excellency Emina Tudakovic. the High Commissioner of Canada to Jamaica. I welcome her to the platform.
Good morning. Good morning, Minister, Mayor, representatives from 4-H. I'm going to do the typical all protocols observed because my notes were getting all over the place on everybody I had to greet. But good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As most of you are aware, Canada places gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls, and by extension, other vulnerable groups, at the heart of all our development efforts. Gender equality, thank you, is the most effective way to reduce poverty and to build a more inclusive, peaceful, and prosperous world. Governments must continue to prioritize sectors where the most vulnerable remain at the forefront. The Enabling Gender Responsive Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience, and Gender, I realize now why you have a really snazzy acronym because it's a mouthful, is a project that was conceptualized to do precisely that. Through Agenda, we have already supported work, including a revision of the National Transport Policy, to ensure the changing needs of Jamaica's transport system are addressed and to allow for gender equality and climate change considerations to be mainstreamed. This work in the agricultural and transport sectors provided opportunities for policy articulation to strengthen the integration of gender equality to sectoral planning and implementation processes to address both adaptation and resilience. Today, Canada is proud to support today's initiative that will contribute to advancing gender equality here in Jamaica, including through this pilot project, strengthening the adaptive capacity of young farmers and fishers in Jamaica. As many of you are aware, fishing communities across the Caribbean and here in Jamaica are experiencing rapid changes in the coastal ecosystems that underpin livelihood security. In Jamaica, these changes are partially reflected in the collapse of the local capture fishery, which has exacerbated ecological, social, and food security challenges. I'm very pleased that this project will work towards strengthening the adaptive capacity of young farmers and fishers in selected communities in Jamaica, with a view of targeting close to 900 youth. It is our hope that with this support, more young persons will become involved in these important industries, and the project will provide a supportive framework for the ongoing development of the fisheries sector. As some of the previous speakers mentioned, it is incredibly important that youth be engaged and their involvement encouraged in developing solutions to the changes faced by the agricultural sector and the need for climate-smart agriculture. And I know we can all agree that this is critical for our human health, food security, and national development. I would also like to especially recognize the role of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, a critical partner in this project. I applaud your work in preparing young people to pursue careers in the agricultural industry and contributing to the country's efforts to achieve food security. And next time you have some of our Canadian 4-Hers, let me know, because it'd be nice to do a visit. And I'd also, of course, especially like to thank our other partners, including, of course, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, the UNDP, the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, the Human Employment and Resource Training National Service Training Agency Trust, and the Rural Agricultural Development Agency. So Mr. Virgo, I think you said it well. We all, I'm not going to say you're preaching to the choir, because I'm not sure if that's an expression in Jamaica, but we use it in Canada. It's okay. We all know that climate change matters. We all know we're not heading in a great direction either, right? So things that keep me up at night, climate change is one of them, food security is one of them. This project touches on all of them. The last 2 years of the pandemic underscored how interconnected we are. Did we learn our lesson? I hope so. I know that some of the people here did. Certainly we did. It is incredibly important for us to continue to invest in our ability to prepare, respond, and recover. No one else is going to do it unless we do it together. So Canada is very, very pleased to partner with Jamaica and our partners. This is a key priority for international assistance, and we remain committed to supporting your efforts. So best of luck for the project. I look forward to purchasing some of your food at food stands as I drive around Jamaica, and thank you for having me. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your remarks. Well received, I see. Now at this time, we have been hearing a lot of talk. We have been getting a lot of statistics, and we have been kind of forecasting what could or may happen based on the effects of climate change. But it's now time to literally let our hair down and to take a breather as we get into our cultural item. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to ask Miss Misha McLean, 4-H Clubite of Frankfield Primary School, to come forward with her item. And you're going to give her a very big round of applause. And before Misha gets into her presentation, we want to say thank you to the Canadian High Commissioner to Jamaica, who has to leave at this point. Thank you very much, madam, for being here. So now, we turn our attention to the platform as we hear from Misha McLean.
Good morning, everyone. I am going to be doing today Breadfruit by Amal Wright. Big up my heritage, yes, in a oh. Big up my heritage, yes, in a heritage fest. No junk food, breadfruits are the best. Mix it with the national dish. Love it with the key and fish. Eat healthy, bag just enough for me. My love my breadfruit with a little cocoa tea. No big tough bone for your bite and chew. Rasta love it in a ital stew. It's the vital food with the ilalu. Live a healthy lifestyle like I do. If you want to see me scrum a plate clean, just give me breadfruit with beer bean. I know if, I know but, I know maybe. Breadfruit is like the new bread, baby. Never had nothing that tastes so good. Make your food be your medicine, your food. My neighbor breadfruit smile with me. Another tree a ball come pick me. I sing squirting on my ears like Britney. But at jail time, reality hit me. As a pitney, when hungry lit me, straight the feet to the breadfruit victory. Breadfruit tastes good whether roast or fried. Me no give me breadfruit, look a most man cry. Become a heritage, yes, in a heritage fest. No junk food, breadfruits are the best. Mix it with the national dish. Love it with the Kiansa fish. That was Breadfruit by Amal Wright.
All right, so we big up breadfruit. Yes, I wonder how you love it. How do you love it? I love it roast and I love it fry. How do you love it? Every way. All right, I remember what you said earlier, Chair. No, let's hear it again for Misha McLean from Frankfield Primary. And Misha, stand up again for me. I hope you took notice. She's wearing our breadfruit. Stand up, make them see you, Misha. See? Turn around, man, and show the breadfruit on the T-shirt. Give her another round of applause. She came well attired. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know how Minister Witter is going to come now on the back foot of the breadfruit. So, Minister, you're going to have to come very good. But, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite to the lectern Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Franklin Witter.
You know, I have a big breadfruit tree at the back of my house. You know? Yes. So the good yellow heart, and it bear good. So it's a good thing I always eat breadfruit regularly, because if it were not so, then I would have to find my little friend. Yes. To give me some advice as to whether to eat it fry, roast, boil. But I like it every way, as my chairman said. I like it in all different ways that it is prepared. Madam Chair, I'm very disappointed that Her Excellency would have left before the meeting is complete, but it gives me a little break because I know the pronunciation. Was giving everybody a little problem. I realized that when Colin came to make his presentation, he didn't bother to call the name. And I was struggling too. So notwithstanding my disappointment that she has to leave, it gives me a break in terms of trying to pronounce her name. Miss Ava White Anderson, resident representative, UNDP, multi-country office in Jamaica, Sir Title. Mr. Oliver Blake, head of the Jamaica Political and Development Team and senior governance advisor, British High Commission. Sir Colin Virgo, our chairman, my good friend in other circles. Yes. Dr. Ronald Blake, who we have just discovered recently that we are related. So I'm going to be making sure that Dr. Blake visits his family in St. Elizabeth. Yes. And when you come, you can get fairly breadfruit from my backyard. Yes. Mr. Michael Scott, Project Support Consultant, UNDP. Mr. Winston Simpson, our new acting CEO at RADA. I'm looking forward to continue working with you as you embark on your new capacity as CEO. Mr. Donald Gordon, Director of Jamaica 4-H Foundation. Reverend Wickham, Chairman, Inland Advisory Council, Jamaica 4-H Club. Mr. Kelly, or Mrs. Kelly Bennett, Business and Entrepreneurship Development Manager, Jamaica 4-H Club. Yes, first class. Miss Misha McLean, 4-H Clubite, Frankfield Primary. My good friend and colleague, His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Maraj, in your town, sir, and I look forward to the good treatment I always get when I visit your town. Yes. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Is it afternoon now? Still morning. Good morning. I came in late, so I thought that it was afternoon. I'm very happy this morning to be sharing in this exercise. I think it is a very, very important exercise as we seek to making sure that we adapt to the realities of climate change. I listened to previous speakers who mentioned the importance of us making sure that we bring this kind of support to the level, I think, Mr. Blake, you mentioned, to the level of the grassroots, because we will talk about the importance of adapting to climate change. And sometimes those at the bottom who really need the support, sometimes we leave them out. But this project is aimed at getting down to the level of those who really need the kind of support to ensure that we can be resilient as we go about our business in the fishery sector and in the agricultural sector. I was at 3 meetings recently in Clarendon, and I listened to the statistics in respect of the numbers as it relates to women who are involved in agriculture and young people who are involved in agriculture. And notwithstanding the fact that we are way behind in terms of where we would want it to be, but my recent involvement and participation in the meetings with the 4-H Club, I've really realized that there is some new energies as it relates to young people and women in agriculture. And therefore, I am feeling very happy to know that we are on the right path. Because when I went to the last function, the majority of persons who were there to receive leases and other benefits were mainly women and young people. So that means we are on the right path, so we are getting there. Yes, I think we need to clap ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it is no secret that our women and young people face great challenges in accessing resources to adapt to climate change. And if we are to create a future that ensures agricultural security as we grow smart and eat smart, our youth must be at the forefront of this drive towards food security. Traditionally, fishing and farming are male-dominated fields. Data indicates, as I've said before, and as other persons mentioned, that only 20% of all farmers are male. Are young people, with males about 69%. Young farmers are about 31%. This imbalance is even greater in the fishery sector, with just 5.9% being female. Our goal at the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is to chart a course that will ultimately protect lives and livelihood. And our young people must lead this initiative to energize, lead, and strengthen the agricultural sector. Because the young people really have the energy, so we have to get them involved. Today is indeed a special occasion as we launch this project that will provide equal opportunities in the sector, allowing for more persons to participate in the country's economic growth. This project will also strengthen the youth resilience to climate change and help to pull vulnerable groups towards maximizing their true potential. I salute the Jamaica 4-H clubs, the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, and the United Nations Development Program for their collaborative effort in implementing this 6-month pilot project. Through this project, our young male and female farmers and fishers in select communities in Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and St. Thomas will receive training in business management and financial literacy, as well as receive business inputs to start and strengthen their farming, fisheries, and agro-processing enterprise. We welcome the grant of US $140,000 from the Global Affairs Canada and the United Kingdom Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. We look forward to the increased awareness that our 600 youth will receive on climate-smart agriculture, gender roles in mitigating climate change and building resilience, and value-added income-generating opportunities in the sector. Importantly also, we welcome the capacity building of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation and Jamaica 4-H clubs. Its volunteers and other key stakeholders group through the Train the Trainers program in disaster risk reduction and business community planning. Training and certification of 175 youth in crop and livestock production, fisheries and value-added agriculture, the provision of venture inputs, technical support, and coaching to 110 youth in the development of agricultural-based enterprise. These are some of the initiatives that we'll be focusing on, and I know that this will go a far way in making sure that our increase in production and our awareness at the community level is increased as we seek to adapt to the realities of climate change. I listened to my chairman, and he mentioned some of the issues that we face at the community level in terms of Jamaica's position in relation to how our communities are structured. Many of the persons who live in the certain communities will not be able to move into other communities if the impact of climate change is come to bear on these communities. And therefore, we have to ensure that we put the systems in place that will accommodate. And Chairman mentioned the old folks who would have worked hard and retired and live in these communities will not be able to move into other communities. And therefore, these kind of programs will help to facilitate and ensure that they can survive as we confront this climate change reality. Indeed, this training aligns with the mandate of our youth training arm, the Jamaica 4-H Club, of encouraging increased youth participation in the agriculture and fisheries sector. Youth inclusion in the agricultural sector is a priority for this ministry as we seek to transform the sector to one that is research-based, utilizing technology and innovation to stimulate and increase production and productivity for both the domestic and international market. In support of this, we are directing 20% of all benefits towards youth in agriculture. This means that our youth will be given preferential terms in accessing government-owned land for lease. And as I mentioned earlier, that project has started. We have been making sure that we provide these land spaces for the youth to be involved in agriculture. Since April of this year, we have signed leases with 50 young male and female who will operate from our agri-parks and production zones across the island. Through the Rural Youth Economic Empowerment Program, REAP, we are also providing 1,000 young people with the necessary training in life skills and entrepreneurship, along with the tools so that they can pursue successful businesses. These initiatives form part of the ministry's main program of increased agricultural production and productivity and food security, and is integrally aligned with the strengthening of agri-enterprise and climate change adaptability. In closing, I wish to express our appreciation to all the partners here for this collaboration, and I look forward to its successful implementation. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Minister Witter, for your address. And of course, we will definitely take them into consideration and of course put into action. And I'm very happy to learn of the new family reunion between yourself and the executive director. And of course, I can just see them at the reunion under the breadfruit tree. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now down to the wire. Of course, it has been a very interesting morning into now afternoon. And of course, to bring it all home, we have to say thanks. And tasked with that duty is Mrs. Villette Kelly-Bennett, Business and Entrepreneurship Development Manager of Jamaica 4-H Clubs, who will come forward and move the vote of thanks.
I take it it's now afternoon. Good afternoon. Just about. It's a pleasure for me to extend appreciation on behalf of the directors, staff, and volunteers of Jamaica 4-H Foundation and the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, to our funding partners, Global Affairs Canada, Her Excellency, and I'll try, Emina Tudakovic, as well as to Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, United Kingdom, Mr. Oliver Blake. And of course, our implementing partner, the United Nations Development Program Multi-Country Office in Jamaica, Mrs. Denise Antonio, who in her absence, but I'm sure she's still watching, represented by Mrs. Avo White Anderson, and of course, the Project Management Office of the United Nations Development Program. We sincerely thank you and appreciate your continuous confidence in the Jamaica 4-H Clubs Foundation to providing support to youth in agriculture and fisheries in Jamaica. For supporting the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, we are happy that this pilot will give equal opportunities to male and female youth farmers and fishers, including persons with disabilities. I'm sure their capacity being strengthened to adapt to and mitigate the impacts of climate change will naturally increase their earning potential. His Worship, the Mayor of Clarendon, Councillor Winston Mirage, Honorable Minister Franklin Witter, Rex. Yes, you understand? Trying too hard, right? We are excited to be an active arm of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, and we thank you and the Honorable Minister Pernell Charles Jr. and of course the technical team for the continued support. Our chairman, Mr. Colin Virgo, I have a word here describing, but I'll keep it down for now. Sir, the board under your stewardship continue to push us and stand as our greatest cheerleaders to fulfill our mandate. We applaud you. We continue to salute Dr. Ronald Blake, our Executive Director, Jamaica 4-H Clubs, who is quite resolute about investing in young Jamaicans for greater contribution to national development through its vibrant Youth in Agriculture program. Sir, you're not lost on us. We heard your passion for food diversification, and certainly through this program, as we look at improving the resilience of our young persons in adapting to climate change, food diversification will be an important component as we help them to explore new business opportunities within the sector. I must add, while not here, Dr. Bellamy from the National Fisheries Authority, a very important partner who is working with us and who actually has assigned the staff to supporting us in the implementation of this very important project. We salute them as well. Mr. Winston Thompson, Acting CEO for RAD, or Rural Agricultural Development Authority. Mr. Winston Simpson, I think my glasses may not be working today. My apologies, sir. Mr. Winston Simpson, Acting CEO, Rural Agricultural Development Authority, a very not important partner that continues to support the 4-H clubs in the implementation of its activities. Ms. Sharika Campbell in Med-Caribbean, another partner that is assisting us in rolling out particularly the fisheries component as we seek to support our young persons in getting involved in aquaponics. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I must also speak on behalf of the over 600 youth, many of whom are logged on via Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, who will gain increased knowledge of climate change and its impact on food security and their livelihood. With the ending impact of this pilot, I'm certain that at least the 175 youth will be certified, and the 110 youth-led enterprises that will receive venture inputs and handholding support will, in short order, Honorable Minister Witter, contribute to the adaptation and innovation and technologies in the sector. Reverend Roy Wickham, Chairman, Island Advisory Council, Jamaica 4-H Clubs. Thank you, sir, for inviting the presence of God, our ultimate provider, in our presence today. And Mr. Nika Allen, who so ably represented Mr. Donald Gordon, Director for the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, who was absent unavoidable. And oh, what excellent excitement Miss Misha McLean, our 4-H clubite from Frankfield, gave us through breadfruit. And of course, I love my breadfruit too, Misha. To our own Miss Carol McCormack, our permanent MC, Public Relations and Marketing Manager, Jamaica 4-H Clubs, who as usual piloted us through the program, media, viewers online, our hospitality team, our team members from the 4-H Clubs, 4-H Foundation, and of course those working hard in the back. We appreciate you sharing your time with us today and look forward to your continued support as we continue to empower Jamaican youth in agriculture and fisheries to meaningfully contribute to Jamaica and becoming more food secured. Bless you and walk good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kelly Bennett, for moving the vote of thanks. And of course, it is only my task to endorse what was just said and for a wonderful day into afternoon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be dispersing shortly, but I don't want you to run off because you see, here at 4-H, we do things different. We just throw the regular out the window and we give you something special and unique. So just on the outside, we are going to have refreshment. And I'm so sorry for the online audience. You can only see the pictures. But we have some very interesting refreshment out there for you. You have heard us preaching food diversification. So food diversification live and direct on the outside. So just to give you a little hint of what is out there, you can go out there and get your stir-fried pumpkin leaves in codfish. Yes. You can also get your dasheen chips with mami dip. I just looking, because my little surveillance camera just send me the pictures. Baked chicken breast with noni leaves. Are you all excited yet? So I'm not telling you no more. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being the wonderful audience that you have been. Thank you to our online audience. Thank you, technical team. Go out, refresh yourself, and when you're done, have a safe journey to your respective locations. Thank you very much.